But you say it's unrelated. How is that unrelated?
So you got to find this sheet in the packet that I gave you. I know it's not first, but it's what we're going to look at first. And go ahead and put choice A is super strength and choice B is super smart.
I thought Anna straight was okay. Would you rather super strength or super smart?
I guess there should be a have in there. Okay, so we're going to do some two-way tables. Two-way table means it's a table and there are two different things you're looking at. So for example, we're going to talk about boys versus girls. Super strength is A and super smart is B. So we can just write here strength versus smart. Okay. You want intelligence?
Strength versus smart.
Me want to be smart. What's the matter, Mark? Thank you. I'm perfect just the way I am.
No.
Is that you?
No, that was Ben.
It sounded like it. Okay. All right. So if you are a boy and you would like to be super strong, and let's talk about strength. I'm saying you can move anything. So if you wanted to, you could go over and you could push that wall out.
I can move my dad off the couch.
You could definitely move your dad off the couch.
McConnell, can we control this thing? Or do we have uncontrollable?
You've got control. So you could go over, you could, yeah, you have precise strength. If there was,
Ooh, actually,
you can't, it, strength.
You gotta touch the object to use your strength.
You're broken.
I feel a little threatened. Just to clarify, you can't use your intelligence or your strength against me.
Unfair.
Okay, then I don't understand. I used it against your table.
Think of a way to use my super intelligence and strength.
All right, so help me out here. Boys, raise your hand if you want super strength.
Of course.
Just so I'm clear, 1, 2, 3, right?
Smart is in like extremely smart or just like.
And smart, raise your hand if you want to be super smart, if you're a boy. Oh, you did and I missed you?
I wasn't, no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't raise for the first one.
Eli doesn't have two hands.
Okay, so
I have 2 hands.
just so we're clear, these two numbers should add up to 7, and do they? We have 7 boys in here. Okay. And girls, who wants super strength? Just 1. And who wants
Me.
super smarty?
Yeah.
4.
So then I can pass. Wait, are you like?
No, but if you're
basically
strong, you
something
go like the
all of these,
NFL, you
or
know,
you
just
just-
full over everybody.
We just need data.
Yeah, but then what happens when you get injured in the NFL?
You'll get
No
it.
one will touch you.
No one hands you.
So this is very confusing because there's 2 types of tables that we'll talk about. Okay. So I'm going to pop over to these notes real quick. Okay. That should be in your slides. I'm sorry, that looks like this.
First page.
Okay, so relative frequency means the ratio to the total number. Okay? So underline total number. So when we calculate this relative frequency chart, we're going to have our total number be 12. Andrew's not here. So our total number is going to be 12. All right. When we do conditional, Condition means considering this, what happens. Okay, so conditional is going to be just considering the subset. Subset means just part. In other words, boy or girl. And really, an example of this is like probability of you want to be smart given you're a girl. So instead of being out of 12, it's going to be out of 5. Okay, and we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, and you're actually right. Okay, so we'll get there. So this is like out of everybody. This is just looking at one group. Okay, so conditional means consider something. Something conditional, right, is when is a dependent event. It's when I roll the dice and I say we're not allowed to now roll that dice anymore. Okay, so Maddie gets the strangle dice out after super strength. She rolls the dice. She rolls one of you. I can't even say it. She rolls the dice again. She's not going to do it again because you're no longer part of the strangle game.
You're on
The strangle gang or game?
Game.
Okay, I was
I'd
like,
be first on that list.
Apparently, I'm at the top.
No, McConnell, I'd be first on that list.
Okay.
I promise.
there you go.
So this is our frequency chart. This is not conditional. This is not conditional. This is not conditional. So all of these are going to be divided by what?
12.
12. So this one here, let's go ahead and put strength back in. And smart. Isn't it funny how the word smart just doesn't sound intelligent?
You know what else is so smart? Go and take one.
Who did that? You? Thank you. This is 4 out of 12.
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome. Can we simplify it?
please.
Sorry.
We're going to want decimals.
Oh,
0.3 repeating.
I don't like that.
Boom, did that.
Okay, we'll do 0.3 repeating. I'm okay with that.
No, I
And then boys who want to be smart.
0.25.
3 12s or 0.25. I just want to.
Again, we want the decimal.
3 times.
And that totals to
7 out of 12. 7 out of 12.
well, you should be able to add those.
0.55.
You should be able to add those. So it's point
0.58.
It's
0.58.
0.28.
It's
Point-
583 repeating. No, it's 58, and then the 3 repeats, yes.
3 repeating.
Boom. Why do we do it out of 12? I mean, I know that's everybody, but when we just do it out of the boys.
that is a different frequency.
So which one is this?
This is just frequency. The other one's called conditional.
Okay.
So then I'm going to just say, let's just focus on the boys. Of the boys, let's figure that out. Okay.
Now-
So of the girls, this is 1 out of 12, which equals
What is that? 0.12? 0.13?
Are you guessing?
Yeah.
It's going to be less than 0.1.
It's 1. It's 7.
Less than.
It's going to be less than 0.1. It's going to be 0.808, 3 repeating.
No way.
Yeah.
We already wrote that down, Don.
Oh, wow.
Be nice.
Next time it's 1/3.
Okay, the next one is 4 out of 12, which is
1/3.
0.3 repeating.
I did the wrong column.
And if I add these, you know how to put 0.3 repeating in the calculator?
No, I don't.
1/3.
You can, the best way is to put it in as 1/3, but this is what I teach everyone else,
That's what I do.
is you literally want to just type in a whole bunch of 3s, and it'll understand if you put enough. I promise you, if you only do like one row, you could get a wrong answer. It wants all the, okay. This also here, what is that 7 sitting there for?
It's a rounded.
It rounded. So it's really 0.416 repeating. Okay.
Wait, so what's the, what?
Yeah.
So this right here, what we just did was adding these two together is 0.416 repeating. If I add these numbers together, I should get what?
0.9999.
I should get 1.
But you get 0.99.
You didn't type in enough threes.
Yeah, I'm over here sharing.
Yeah, if you do that during this test, it's when I.
Okay, do you see what we get? The calculator's like, oh, I see what you're doing.
Wait, you're gonna spend a good minute.
That took me a minute.
Whoa. I will take it overboard. It was in a whole minute.
Here's my impression of Brody typing in the threes.
No, I will legit sit there for a good minute.
Then go ahead.
He'll probably just sit there for a minute and start going.
All right, so we also should add up this way. So this is going to tell us about our strengths, which is
0.416.
0.416 repeating. And I like the way Hope's realizing that these are fractions that we can add. So sometimes they don't give you the fraction, it's just the decimal. But 7/12 is, gosh, my
0.583.
never seen that.
You don't have to put in a calculator, bro. It's already up there.
It's already up there?
Yeah. For the total. Stop!
What the
Of the
heck?
first one. Of the boys.
What are you doing, Johnny?
And then I also should work out that these add up to 1. Okay.
Let me try it. So it would be 0.419.
6, 7, please.
Wait. So the boys all the way across is the same as choice B, and the girls all the way across is the same as choice A. Will that always happen?
No,
It got me 625.
it just happened, yeah.
What? I did something wrong. I got 625.
I just typed in as many tools as this calculator can.
I
Give me
probably
625.
So what can we say from this chart?
More people want
It takes like a minute to do this calculator.
Okay,
also probably shows a little bit of our intelligence.
how so?
How do we still want to, even though we're smart, we want to be smart still?
What?
That means you're intelligent?
No, that means we're not smart enough.
Ah,
Bro, I mean, if you're just super strong, you know, you go to the NFL, just be like Marshawn Lynch. Be like Marshawn Lynch, bro. Just knock everybody over. You don't need to be. You don't need to. You don't need to be. Hey, Mom.
So you know,
Get up, turn him upside down.
but you know how easy it would be to murder somebody?
Well, that's their fault. They got in your way.
Why is Hope the person to think of that?
That's why I
If they get
asked
him-
if you have precision control.
Okay.
so you don't murder people?
So he can.
If they get in my way, that's their fault.
He asks if he can have precision control so he can murder people.
Dude, I've broken 3 people.
Sometimes I wonder if this shouldn't be called geometry, it should be called evil geniuses of the future. Evil geniuses of the future.
Now they think I'm mean.
EGF for short. No, stop.
I'm gonna tape your coffee shut so when you go to drink your coffee, it doesn't come out.
Okay.
It's all recorded too.
Yeah. I'm just asking mathematically, can we make a robot out of this?
Okay.
So we just did that. Why am I, where'd that sheet go?
What are we doing now?
We're flipping it over.
Okay.
That was the best show.
What show? Powerpuff Girls?
Oh, yeah.
No, Johnny Test is better. Johnny Test. for sure.
Johnny.
This is that boy, Johnny Depp.
It's all about
Yeah, they made a new one, but like they're all different.
Yeah, I figured out why it's so hard.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, we're so easy. We get so I'm hoping I don't give it that.
I don't want to.
Yeah, for enough talking to, but I said I look like Johnny, from Johnny said.
All right, so I just realized that we kind of,
Skip something important.
we didn't skip something. We did two things in one. Okay, so this one here was really just looking for the percentages, or actually just the numbers. Okay, so whereas this next one, they wanted us to give just percentages. We kind of did it together.
What do you mean?
Okay.
So we don't have.
So in other words, this would have been point, help me out here. What is it? 0.3 repeating.
I'm sorry, you have a better answer.
So you got 0.3, we got 0.25, we've got point, I just flipped the paper, and 0.3.
Are we gonna put it in the total column?
Okay, so here we have frequency. Really, it should have just been the numbers, and the chart's going to be the same essentially as that. Okay.
What?
That one, the one we did, this big one, the first big one we did should have just been the fraction.
It actually ends up being the exact same chart as this, just with the totals.
What?
Oh, it ends up being, it just being phone numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
You.
So it is at first.
So I gotta say that it could show up different ways, but basically we put all the charts that we needed in this one here. Okay. But this, so you might also see it given to you like this. Okay. So in other words, we can just skip that one. Okay. So now conditional. And okay, so conditional is based on the boys or girls. So condition A, you got to rewrite this as strength and smartness. And then I'll rewrite it down here too. This is conditional. So this, guys, stop. This means I'm considering that you're a boy, what's your response? Considering that you're a girl, the condition that's the case that's already happened, and we should get different results than these up here. Okay? So, of the boys, 4 said they wanted strength. 4 out of 7. And it's really, this should be a decimal, so I'm really writing that small. 4 divided by 7.
Those are the only fractions I did.
Oh, decimal is 7.
I don't think he I remember, yeah, he had to memorize all of
Man, my calculator.
Got your
There
percentage.
it
Oh, I
is.
thought you were meaning at 0.33 was the percentage, when it was really 33%. That's why I was
It's 0.5714.
So 4 out of 7 is point.
5714.
We'll just go 2 decimal places.
0.57.
Can you tell me what this is?
What are you pointing at? 0.43.
0.43. How did you get that?
Subtraction.
They should add to 1, right?
It should add up to 1. So let's double check. So what's left is 3 out of 7. 3 out of 7 is at 0.43 when you're around it.
428.
Okay, but yes, these two things should add up to 1 because you didn't get it. I mean, the only reason it wouldn't if a boy did not answer. Okay.
So, since it wants percentages, would it be
This is not even
57%?
You actually leave it as decimals, as weird as that is.
But it's just,
I know.
that's so weird. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
And I'll tell you that there'll definitely be some flexibility. If you gave me 57%, I would give you credit. Okay.
Well, let's stay.
Or it'd be multiple choice.
Will, dear Chris.
But a lot of times, this is how
Will the air test give us flexibility?
Yes, it does.
Yay.
So when I see these questions, it says correct answer, 0.57 or 57% or
Rachel, can you stop?
so whatever. Okay.
Will there not be lenience for the fractions?
There won't be lenience when some of that stuff we did with pi, where you would like divide by pi and you get a decimal pi thing. Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm saying like say you, okay, so what is anyone wants to use for pi who don't want it?
It'll in the problem you use the pi button unless it says otherwise. Let's stay on topic.
And then this is also on topic. So like you're talking about, so like if you put 0.57 and like 57%, it'd work. What if you put 4 sevens?
I have no notes.
It probably worked. Yeah. All right. So strength, girls' strength was 1 out of 5.
Basically 0.2.
0.2, which means this over here has got to be 0.8 because it was 4 out of 5.
I like putting 0 for differences.
Yeah. All right. So is it significant? Is being a boy or girl kind of affect? So that condition of your gender, is it affect how we wanted whether to be smart or strong?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
I want to be smart.
Okay. And what would you say about boys? Boys want,
Strength more than smartness, but it's about the same.
okay. In this case, boys wanted strength more and girls wanted smart. Okay. And I like Brody's observation that these are actually pretty close, but it is true that boys wanted to be strong and girls wanted to be smart. Which is really kind of interesting. One thing I want to point out, we only asked 12 students. Okay.
That's the whole school. It'd probably be about the same, honestly.
Okay. Might be the same, might be different. Definitely, we're talking a lot about this in 7th grade. Bias. What is your bias? What it could possibly affect your answer?
If you do sports.
Okay, if you did sports, but specifically in this class, your bias is
We're
being accelerated.
already.
Is being accelerated affect your answer?
No.
It could.
I pick strength the whole way. Opposed, like not accelerated.
Intelligence failing, yeah.
And I'm just throwing this out there. If you're an intelligent person, you might go, oh, I already got intelligence. I want strength. A lot of people, it's kind of the Mark, when he looks at me, he goes, man, I wish my hair looked like Mr. McConnell. Okay. It's the being jealous of that other person, of what you don't have. Okay. I know. Someday, Mark, someday.
I can make it look like that right now. You look
Grow back in a week.
you look like my dad, bro. It's like pure bold.
All right. So typically, this is the notes, the front of the notes. Typically, you put the chart together. They did not. So right here, it's in the conditional statement would be here. One thing that really confused me initially is that I wanted these two numbers to be what? I wanted them to add up to 1, but they are not. Okay? They are not. We're on the notes, front page of the notes. We can also just kind of realize that this is, just so we know, the probability that you want strength given that you're a boy.
Was if you add them all up, it'd add up to 2, so like
Okay.
you go down and be like this percentage
Mhm.
strength, and yeah.
That's a good observation.
Oh, so A is strength, and if strength given B equals the strength.
Yeah. So questions I could ask here, I'm going to ask them. The probability that you want to be smart, given that you are a girl.
So
If we
it's
know that strength
smart
is
is-
0.2.
0.8.
0.8. It's just sitting there.
So we can just grab every
Dude,
information
I swear.
that's one out of that.
You and Miss Kimmel must have talked to each other because we're doing stuff just like this in science right now.
So if I were to look at this one, this chart, and I ask that same question I just asked, let's go ahead and add this on here. Probability, sorry, going back to the sheet, that I want to be smart, given that I'm a girl. Okay, so you go to the girls, and that in smart was 4. But this is conditional, meaning I only want to think about the girls in this situation. Okay,
So then you add up
so it's 4 out of 5.
But that's exactly the same thing we got on the first.
It
one.
should, no matter where I ask this question, it should be the same answer. Okay, but how you answer it, you got to be careful, right? So this is just considering the girls. They'd love to throw these tables at you and then ask a question like this, asking if you can pick out that information. The probability that you want to be smart, given that you're a boy, is what? 3 out of 7. Okay, 3 out of 7, and that ended up being 0.43.
How do you know what they want you to round to?
That's a great question. I'll ask that. I'll figure that out. I'll find out. In calculus, they want 3 digits. Okay, and I'll ask some people that question. It's a great question. Okay, so I could ask all kinds of different questions, and you got to know what chart we're looking at. Be careful, because conditional means I've already considered that it's based on being boy or girl. Okay, I initially got really confused because I was like, why are these 2 charts here different? And I can't really show them both at the same time. Well, this one is based on whether you're a boy or girl. This one is just purely out of everybody, so total. Okay, so if it says conditional on there, it's not going to be out of the total people. Okay, so Brody made a really good observation that when you do add these numbers up, it should equal what? 2. Okay, because you have 100% of the girls and 100% of the boys, to give you 200%.
I actually sort of like that. I understand this, but there's no probability involved, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the notation, but you're right. There's none of those ugly formulas. I agree. Okay. So now that you like it, let's go ahead and try something
Hard.
fun with it. Oh, hope that you liked it.
Hope was lying.
I like it.
Hope you were lying, right?
All right, so these charts, this is a 2-way frequency table. So that means it doesn't affect whether you're boy or girl, it's just out of everybody. So anytime we figure out something, it's out of what?
100.
Oh, this is like a math, like logic problem.
Total.
It's like a logic.
The total, it's out of 187. So any question I would ask, I'm asking out of the 187, what's going on? And it is. It's like a logic problem. Somebody tell me what this number has to be.
85.
It's got to be 85, because those two have to add up to that. 45.
Okay, I'm done.
The other one is 92. I just did the total first.
Okay, so I could ask a question, the probability of being a male and saying yes. 52 out of, no,
Out of 187.
out of 187,
Boom. How do you get that? You do the thing.
because it's out of the total. I want
Why don't you
this,
multiply stuff?
because it's just sitting there. Male and yes is 52 out of there.
Oh, and.
And
What if it was or?
So here's where it gets a little bit weird. The probability of saying yes, given that you're a male?
52,
it's-
92, right?
52.
It's 52 out of 92.
Are they called 90 seconds?
Okay. How about this? The probability that you're a male saying that you said yes.
It's the same thing.
No, it's 92 over 52.
52 over 102.
It's 52 out of 102. Because we're saying, oh, you're in this category. How many were male?
What about if it said or?
It never said or.
It wouldn't say, it could say or. Let's say, what's the probability of male or female given you said yes?
Well, that would be 102 out of 187.
That one's really weird.
102 out of 102.
It's 102 out of 102.
Oh, yeah.
So if you said yes, is that person a male or a female?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, there are some questionable, okay, I'm not
I
gonna do
mean,
it.
I'm
Oh,
sure there's a chicken in there.
Probability of saying yes, and if I switch it, it's gonna work out the same way. Okay.
This does not make sense.
What doesn't make sense?
Everything.
Mark, you were getting it 2
Why are
seconds.
we getting?
Where did you get confused? This one?
Everyone. Like,
Oh
why,
my gosh.
why given M 52 over 92?
So this tells you what category we're in, right? I'm telling you, I only want to look at the males. So then it's out of 92. So this says only look at the males. That's the condition. So how many said yes? Of the males, 52 out of 92 said yes.
What about males given yes?
Given that you said yes, so now I'm in this category. Out of 102, how many were male?
Cool.
What about the M and
So I
Y?
kind of get this.
This one?
No, the top
M
one.
and Y.
M and Y. So how many people were male and said yes? 52 out of 187.
But that doesn't make sense because there's also 95 females that said yes.
Right, but I didn't ask females that said yes. I asked
5 females.
who are males also said yes.
Oh, so males that didn't say yes. So
Males that said yes.
so males.
Males?
And then people who said yes. Okay.
No, it's
And
males
Yeah.
who said yes.
Males who said yes is 92.
no, it's 52.
That's males that said yes or no.
That's all the males.
All the males.
So how many males said no?
40.
40. Right? So if I change this to say males probability and no one else except Mark and no, that's what? Oh my gosh.
Only Mark.
Said only Mark.
Andrew yelled up on you.
I don't know.
Okay, so males and no is 40. There were 40 males that said no.
Yeah.
Okay. And out of, and in this situation, I'm not saying I only want to look at the males. I only want to look at the females. I'm looking at everybody. So out of everybody, how many males?
Never mind. I just got
Good.
it. Just hit me.
Good. Next one. So we want to create a conditional relative frequency.
So it's given. So
So it's all based on male or female. So if you were a male, if you're a male and you said yes, it's what? 52 out of
92.
52 divided by 92 is 0.57. We'll round two digits. If you are a male that said no, that 40 out of just males. I'm only thinking about males. It's conditional.
92.
Is 43. And that makes sense because those two add up to
100.
100. So this is where initially I got confused because I can't find the females just based on the information of the males.
Correct.
Okay, I need some more information. Unlike that first chart, whereas if I give you some of it, you can find the rest. Female, 50 out of 95. Of just the females, 0.53, 0.47.
And I did check it.
So I don't even know what question we asked. 8th graders asked whether they participate in after-school activity. So being male or female, would you say that that impacts whether you participate in activities?
No.
I mean, you can argue that males just a smidget more, okay, but it's so close that you almost wouldn't say. Now, if we're talking about the whole country, right, 57% of the whole country of 8th graders, then that's much different than just this building, okay? But we would say that this is pretty close, that there's almost no correlation, though the question probably would say, what is it? And you could say males are more likely to participate in after school sports. Just the numbers say just a little bit. One more problem. When you first look at these, they're extremely confusing without a table. You make a table and it almost just answers the question for you. The question is, when do you know you need to make a table? When you don't?
You don't understand, you make a table.
Thank you. That's the advice I would give. Okay? If you can't just use your formulas that we have, okay, then making the table might get you through. The only thing I want to point out is that conditional, because it's conditional, knowing what the males are doing doesn't help you with knowing what the females are doing. Whereas over here, we could find things out because it wasn't conditional. It was considering everybody together. This is considering everybody together. We need to make the chart, and our chart needs to have, it's a two-way table, so we're going to compare two things. We're going to compare boys and girls and soccer versus lacrosse, okay? So I'm going to go boys, girls,
20 girls play lacrosse.
soccer, lacrosse.
We can't see all of it.
Out of, thank you. Out of, still can't see.
That doesn't help you at all. I made that chart and it does not help.
Okay. Also, we need to put on here totals. There are 50 students that played all together. Okay, we'll pause on that one. Okay, so the total here is 50.
Oh,
It's-
that helps a lot.
We're not asking, we're just asking people who played soccer or lacrosse. It's not like we're asking everybody. 20 girls play lacrosse. 20 boys play either soccer or lacrosse.
So it's the total for the.
20 students play soccer. So 20's here.
But my table's like different.
And isn't 20 all the way up at the top right?
Yeah.
All of the. there's
Oh, right.
two of the boys. So that means. there's-
So they're on, if you're on this list because you either play soccer or lacrosse.
The girls, 10 of them play soccer.
So 30
And
30 of the girls play
Okay. Got it.
And then 20,
People play
30.
Hey,
10 boys play
Girls.
lacrosse.
There has to be 30.
That's enough to field a team. I don't
There we
really
go.
have any extras.
So one thing I want to point out, this and this better add up to that. If it doesn't, then something's messed up with your table, okay? So here comes the question. What is the probability that a student plays soccer or is a girl?
What's the symbol for or? Is it a U
Yeah.
or an N?
Upside down U.
No, you.
Soccer
Union.
or a girl?
I was right, it's not the union.
So,
I'm sorry, that's how I interpret it.
so this one is out of, and really they asked one question. I could ask 20 questions based on this one problem.
But this is the hardest one I could possibly ask,
Yeah.
because I have no idea how to do it. So,
20
you
or
do
30.
So how many people play soccer?
20.
20. How many people play,
Girls.
how many are girls?
30.
girls.
Oh, I did the wrong thing. Soccer is 20 and girls is 30. Okay. But we gotta be careful.
Is it 20 out of 30 out of 50?
No.
I mean,
A student plays soccer, so the probability of them playing soccer is 20.
So don't you do like the probability of girls being, and then the probability of playing soccer, and then you multiply?
Yeah, so wouldn't it
It's
be like,
20 every
Or is adding,
Yes.
okay,
Or
and is multiplication.
okay, so do you add, the probability of,
So it's 50.
yeah, it'd be.
50 out of
yeah,
50.
Okay, so you're saying 100%,
Of the girls play soccer.
no,
No.
That's what the.
that you're either a girl or you play soccer. There are no people that are not a girl or don't play soccer.
Oh, it could be dependent. So it'd be
40.
probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B.
30.
So it's the probability of S
So, yes.
plus the probability of G minus probability of S and G. Okay, because remember, so to tie this to something, we know it's 30 out of 50. We know it's 20 out of 50. Okay, but we have to subtract the overlap because they got counted twice.
The overlap is 10.
The overlap is play soccer and girls because we counted them in this list. Okay, we counted them here and we counted them here. So we want to count them once, but we don't want to count them twice. So the probability of playing soccer,
20 out of 50.
20 out of 50. Probability of being a girl
30, 50.
is 30. Thank you. I keep looking at the chart wrong. 30 out of 50. And then the overlap is
How do you figure out the overlap?
10 out of 50. Probability of soccer and a girl.
So you just, what is that? 0.8? You trace them
So it's
together.
40 out of 50.
So pause. The probability of playing soccer is here.
Yeah.
Probability of being girl is here. So the overlap, this right here is soccer and girls,
Oh,
is 10 out of 50.
I just, like,
So the probability of this is
How is that?
40 out of 50 or 4/5 or
80%.
80%.
How do
This is the one formula that's actually on the formula sheet. This is the one formula that's actually on the formula sheet.
Wait, we get a formula for probability on the cheat sheet?
This is the only formula that's on the formula for probability sheet.
Sorry.
And I think it's kind of one of the ugliest ones.
Oh, is that the one that you said was on the reference sheet?
Yeah.
You were like, we're gonna learn. This one is on there?
Yes.
Actually, this one's kind
This
of
is
hard.
the one. No, that's
The
the one
only
that-
other one that I feel like is really hard is the divide by the probability of B. I don't know what to do on this. I'm just given.
Probability of A given B is probability of A given B divided by probability.
Okay, well, someone
Shut up.
Good thing she doesn't have super strength. Okay, so this is the one. Now, this is actually a release test question we just did. So this was on the test last year. This is a question, not to put Jackson on blast, but I don't think any of her students got this right last year.
Did any of their students get it right? Like, did any
Any
of
of-
Mr. Sherman?
I don't know about Brook Park.
Jacob probably.
I can't look at their data.
Jada did.
Why?
Jacob.
Why can't you? Because it was a
Colleen
junior
is a
college.
genius.
Correct.
All of them are geniuses.
Yeah, they were all, you would have loved last year's class. They were
I know, I heard that they were really good too.
I'm-
No, I'm kidding. I
Dude,
don't-
Julio and
No,
I
Elvis,
know, Julio, oh my gosh.
So many questions.
So here's your group quiz. Okay. Have fun.
Why did you guys call me?
Have fun, he
Last
says.
thing was,
I think you'll do great. Oh my gosh, I didn't record.
You did.
No, he did. It said stop broadcasting.
Oh, it says stop.